Very rarely does celery get to be the star of, well, anything. You might say, well, there's cream of celery soup, or there's, celery that's filled with cream cheese or peanut butter. However, how often really do you eat celery just as the main star? Well, today, that's exactly what we're gonna do. If you've been following this channel, you know that a few weeks ago we made some French bread, and it was really good. And it was out of this cookbook right here called the French Cookbook, real original name, right? But we are gonna be making one more thing out of this today, and I apologize for using the same cookbook so soon. However, there's one recipe in here that I have not been able to get out of my mind since I made that French bread, and that is a celery and almond sauce, or Cèleri Amandine, if you want to sound French. We're going to start by slicing celery into 1-inch sections. In a large pot, put a 1/4 cup of butter, 1/8 teaspoon of white pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. After the butter is melted, all we need to do is take the celery that we just cut up and put it in the pan with the butter and the salt and pepper and cover it and let it cook for about 20 minutes or so. While that's on the stove, we are going to take a grater and we're going to grate about 1.5 tablespoons very finely of onion, and we're going to add that to the mix, and we're also going to chop up some chives and add that in as well. While that continues to cook, we are going to combine 1 tablespoon of flour with 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/8 teaspoon of white pepper. I've just heated up 1/2 cup of water, and we're going to add 1 cube of chicken bouillon and stir that in. The recipe calls this a double strength consommé, but I just call it bouillon water. To the consommé, we're also going to add 1 cup of cream. The next step, once our celery has softened and become tender, we're going to add in our flour mixture that we made and stir that until everything is nice and bubbly. And then after your flour has fully gotten into the mix here, you are going to add in our cream mixture away from the heat. And then after you've mixed that in thoroughly, you're going to bring the heat back up and let this boil for a few minutes. The final step is to stir in 1 cup of slivered almonds, and then you're done. Time for the taste test. As you would expect in French cooking, the flavor that comes through the most in this, I think quite honestly, is the butter. It is very buttery, it is very full of flavor. Obviously the main star here is the celery, but the celery is not overpowering in that celery kind of taste. It is kind of in the background to the cream and the butter, and even the almonds take up some of the flavor profile even more than the celery does. I actually really like this. The celery is tender and soft, and if you like things that are creamy, if you like cream of broccoli or cream of you fill in the blank, you're gonna like this, I think. It is really good. I actually recommend you make this. Celery Amandine.